I think it was E.E. Cummings who spoke of the colossal hoax of calendars and clocks. Oh God, friends, isn't this poetic, but isn't it also so true? The colossal hoax of calendars and clocks. This is something that is only known, I think, by the child, by the artist, by the poet, by the film maker, by the psychonaut, those who have freed themselves from the institutionalized form of mechanized cognition that often governs our inner life, that often governs the default world. We live life by the clock. We live life by this left brain programming, this institutionalization of consciousness, this mechanized cognition. And it follows a very boring parabolic arc from life to death. The rat race lives in mechanized cognition. Industrial society lives in mechanized cognition. It puts us in our place. It holds us in our lane. And I understand, I suppose, why men felt compelled to organize themselves in this form of mechanized cognition to create the modern world. But there were always outliers and sages and thinkers and creatives and artists and witches and alchemists who understood that this mechanized cognition was a kind of hypnosis, and we ran the risk of forgetting our natural human state. We become cogs in the machine at the expense of our most poetic humanity. The music makers and the dreamers of dreams that we also are take back seat to a world in which we are but creatures of mechanized cognition, living life by the clock, losing faith in everything that can't be measured, and slowly growing older as we face our own death. And this is just, for me at least, as we have secured our material needs more and more in the Western world, it becomes clear that we need to rekindle the light of poetic truth and free ourselves from what E.E. Cummings called the colossal hoax of calendars and clocks. What we need instead is what the Greeks call kairos, freedom from chronos, what Martin Buber calls I-thou, freedom from the transactional world of I-it, one where we see the whole, we see the big picture. Some describe this as an ontological awakening, a forceful reckoning with what is, like gaping, like staring at images of the deep field as we are forced to reconcile our relationship with space and time on a scale just shy of the infinite. And it is precisely a scale just shy of the infinite that I want to regain a connection to. David Lenson, comparative literature professor, one of the great geniuses of understanding phenomenology, human consciousness, lived experience, poetic truth, spiritual transcendent bliss. He says that it is only when we step away from strict chronometry, the colossal hoax of calendars and clocks, strict chronometry, that we instead give way to a more fluid and provisional matrix, one where consciousness wraps itself around objects and experiences, where time bends to our will and to our inspiration. We step into a slip and slide where we increasingly create and perceive our world. Man and woman at our most creative, when we become alchemists and philosopher kings, as we riff and rhapsodize through a tumbling thicket of impressions with such a sharp and vital alacrity that it takes the breath away. We become platonic men and platonic women. We become the real magical beings, the philosopher kings, the ecstatic poets, the ones that write the words of people like Rumi and Shakespeare and William James. We step through the flimsiest of screens. We cleanse the doors of perception. We lose ourselves and find ourselves. We stare into the abyss, and the abyss stares into us. Finally, we are infinite. Finally, we are free of the death sentence of linear time, the colossal hoax of calendars and clocks. Oh, friends and neighbors, it is this realization that keeps me going every day in every way as I get better and better and better at opening the doors of perception and freeing myself into the heightened plasticity and impressionability of a child in flight as the world reveals itself in all of its vastness, and I step into a fresh green breast of a new world, and the curtain parts, and what I had never seen is often and always devoured by the eyes. I am a virginal child again. A sense of first sight, unencumbered by knowingness, is engendered in me. I'm free of habituation and the tyranny of cynicism and jadedness. I am alive, and I am so happy to be here, friends. I am so excited. I am in the state of heightened presence, sacred immersion. I am transfixed. I am entranced. I am in a state of ravishment. Un estado de arrebato, friends. It is rapture that I speak about. The freedom from the colossal hoax of calendars and clocks is exactly this. It is rapture. It is ravishment. It is rapture. It is ravishment. And as they say in Dead Poet Society, science, engineering, medicine, these are noble pursuits necessary to sustain life. But poetry, truth, romance, freedom, these are the things we stay alive for. Oh, thanks for listening, friends. Thanks for dancing in a sea of liquid imagination with me. Thanks for the ride down the cognitive slip and slide. Thanks for the expansion where time becomes liquid. It is here where we realize what is most true and most important. And we are grateful for this grace. We are grateful for this grace.